How's it going, guys? Maverick here, and today we got a special video. Now, I've been building my car audio for a long time. I've been in it for a couple years with the same setup. And today we just got a big package. The subs I ordered are finally here. Packages have arrived. I opened them both up to inspect them for any damage, because FedEx did do a little bit of damage to the boxes, but not to the subs themselves. Don't feel left out that I cracked the seal without you guys. Don't mind all the car parts. Got some old AGM batteries back there, charger, some one-aught. Without further ado, let's get to taking these things apart. All right, let's get this thing open. You would expect it to come in a full crate, but it just has wood on the top and on the bottom. Let's see here. Perfect. Alright. Let's pull this guy off. And there we go. Look at this behemoth. Let's go ahead and get this thing out of the box, show you guys what this is all about. I got these two 5s out here. I pulled the second one out to show you guys that I got two 18s. These are the 5-car audio Neo 4.11s. It has a nice big chunky 4-inch voice coil in there, and then 11 neodymium magnets. I got the black Neo upgrade. They just added it to the website not too long ago. I had to fully load out the sub, of course. These things are pretty specced out. The white letters on the carbon fiber cone, try getting the full carbon. They said this for team members only. I paid full price for these. Don't want to be on a team because then it just becomes a job and I'm here for fun. It's 5 spiders. So these things do not want to move. These things are super stiff and they are going to take a lot of power and a lot of time to break in. Got the white basket with the white motors, black Neo. These things are sick. I also got the hybrid terminals. These are both dual 1 ohm subwoofers. I'll be able to get these to 1 ohm final impedance, not counting box rise or anything. These come in 1 ohm and 2 ohm dual voice coils. That 2 ohm dual voice coil, it would be wired down way too low or too high for my liking. And unless I get more of these in the future, I'll just have these retoned. That dual one will do pretty well for now. These are both going to be inverted. I like my inverted subs. I wouldn't have paid extra for all the white painting and powder coating if I wasn't ever going to see it. These are going to be sick. Extra cooling. It has a level 3 cooling, which is all now standard. The only things you could spec out on these subs was the sticker and Neo magnet, hybrid push terminals, and then for extra costs you had to tell them what color you wanted the sub. It comes with that 5 spiders for maximum power handling, their Omega, and the stage 3 cooling, the aluminum sleeve that goes over the pole. So as the coil goes up and down, it pretty much acts as a heat sink and it kind of disperses the air out. So these things won't get as hot and they're gonna get even less warm since they're inverted, and that box won't keep them hot. I cannot be more stoked for these things. Still a lot more to come. Usually you would think the subs are the last thing, but unfortunately they're the first thing, one of the most expensive things, and there's a lot of little tiny things that we have to buy, slowly build up to get the upgrade going. It'll all come together and these will definitely tie it all in. As you can see, matching the sub perfectly. Got the white lanyards here too. It's gonna be all white. Let me get that amp out real quick. I got out most of my collection so far. This isn't all of it, of course. I have a lot in my car. This is going to be relatively plug and play. I just have to put in the amp and put in the subs. I already have the box and everything. I do have a lot of other small stuff, and I'm going to need a little bit more small things. It's nothing too big. I already have my little Scar AB amp that I'm just going to keep for now. Trying to get the bass going, and then I'll eventually upgrade the speakers, and I'll film that as I go. This, once again, is the B2 Audio 09 Osprey. It's 8,500 watts RMS is what it's rated at 14.4. On my burst sheet, it got 8,800 at 14.4, and I'm going to be running this amp at 16 volts charging. This amp can take 18 volts charging and 16 resting, but I don't have the capabilities for that in my car, unfortunately. The subs, the amp, it all matches pretty well, and I have a couple little smaller things to tie on in, like my custom SMD fuse block. It does have the plastic acrylic covering over it from when you buy the acrylic Of course, I'll peel that off when it's all set. I just don't want the actual acrylic piece to get scratched as we're going and installing it. It has the full bar at the bottom, so the 4 inputs coming off of my battery bank are going to share equal power, and it's going to distribute it out of the 4 points as the amp pulls the power. This has 4 positives and 4 negatives. This fuse block will work perfectly with this amp, and I will need a separate single for my AB amp. Just little things like this, the white and black, it goes perfect. I'm trying to make, nice catch. I'm trying to make a kind of a theme here. And also with these hybrid terminals, I have these big old sky-high lugs. I got copper, but I'm thinking I'm gonna get tinned. It doesn't ruin the impedance or anything like that. It's not going to be a noticeable change, and it'll just go with the build so much better. These are not currently the right lug hole size, but nonetheless, they do fit on here, and you're probably wondering why these are so big. These are 1/aught terminal lugs, and I will be using 1/aught. The reason why I got the hybrid lugs in the first place was so I could go bigger than the 8 gauge that they recommend. Even with this hybrid system, they came up and gave me this 8 gauge one, which probably won't do anything. You could technically do 8 gauge, but the headroom there isn't big enough. You would do 4 gauge. This one, the amp has 4 gauge out. That's what the manufacturer recommends, but they make 4 gauge to 1/aught. They make these adapters for a reason. And then, call me crazy, this is my speaker wire. This is, of course, Sky High Car Audio 1/aught. It's more of a pearl white. It's the closest white wire I've seen, and they have the most copper in their wires when weighed against other brands. It's not super close, but it's better than any other color, like red and black or whatever else. For this 1/aught having all this extra copper, it will easily carry all of this power, and I will never ask myself, am I being limited by the wire? This could potentially get over 10,000 watts out of the amp. These are 4,500 watts RMS each, and they peak at 9,000 watts. Now you could easily get all that power through 4 gauge, because that's what B2 recommends. I'm sure that B2 knows what they're doing. But this wire will have way more headroom for heat over time as the wires get hot. It's still going to carry that current just as fine. It's going to carry it even better, and the signal response will just be so much better. Having undersized wire can hurt your signal response in the subs. Obviously, going this big, I'm not going to gain anything over 4 gauge, but it's just a peace of mind that I'm never going to be starving these subs, and I'm going to be always getting 100% out of them with this big wire. To top it off, I have more white wire. This is a little bit bigger than my 1/aught, just a little bit. So this is the 1/aught that I'm going to use for the subs, and this is white 2/aught that I'm going to use to wire the amp up. I do have a semi-long of a run from the battery to the amp, and I don't want to lose any amperage through that. I went a little big, and they also make 2/aught to 1/aught. I'm going to be using that. I'm going to be running 2/aught from the battery to the amplifier. 4 inputs in, 4 inputs out. And once again, I will know that that is not a limiting factor. I'm not going to have any voltage drop off in between the battery and the amp using this wire. So I will have the peace of mind. I'm also squeezing all that I can out of this system. And I will know that there's no weak points in my wire, at least. I'll know it's getting all the power it can. And if it's underperforming, I don't even have to think about spending the extra money again for wire. If you go big once, you spend that money. But if you have to start small and then go big, you spend even more money anyways. That's my philosophy behind it. I'm just going to do what I want with this. It's what I think is right. Once again, at the end of the day, it's my sound system, and you guys can do what you want with yours, and I will do what I want with mine. And then I'm going to be going to Gately Audio tomorrow, all the way in Sacramento. It's kind of a drive for me. And I'm going to be picking up my battery bank. Warpath Energy hooked me up with the battery. Still paid for it. No sponsors, once again. But he was kind enough to get me a bank while he's still building up his brand. So I'm going to be going out and picking that up. It's a Skib LTO bank. So it has an instant discharge of a capacitor, and it has the quick charge, and storage of an LTO, and together these cells will make one hell of a battery. They're good for around 20,000 watts. This is 9,000 watts, and once again, I have all that headroom. So now I know that my battery is not a limiting factor, and I have all this extra power, so I know that I'm not straining the battery too bad, and the amp will be able to pull everything it needs, and it's not going to hurt the amp. Then, for the battery, the only limitation I have is my alternator, but I'm already figuring things out for that. It'll be able to get all it needs. The alternator is going to be the trickiest part. It should work just fine. This sound system is going to come together perfectly. I'll keep you guys updated on the battery when I go and pick it up, and I'll show you guys how that is and how it works. Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll keep you guys updated as this build goes on and gets bigger, and eventually we'll start getting some bass in the Jetta. So thank you guys once again. Take care.